Our project here is a new cold storage and fruit packing facility for our pre-existing clients at Betko. They've got a Sunnyside farm, which they needed to increase their cold storage and future fruit packing capacities. The building also includes a component for the staff in an administrative capacity, as well as the required staff needed to fulfill the function of the building. This also includes a bunch of smaller but vital building components, these being a plant room, a truck drench, a guardhouse, fire tanks, and the pumps for those. And obviously, with it being in a slightly sort of secluded and outlying area, the security of the building complex was also noted as something as imperative. With reference to our building and the image attached, steel played a relatively large role in our approach to the building. We always strive to aim for a place-driven architecture, site-specific. So we looked to the hills around, and the jagged, asymmetrical, undulating roof profile draws its lines from there. The nature of the fruit packing industry additionally requires a multitude of industry-specific machinery and processes which ideally require a vast open floor plan. And without the implementation of a steel roof truss and its girders, this simply would not have been achievable, especially on a similar level of economy. Beyond the aesthetics, the functional benefits of steel would be it's the primary structure allowing the largest span and openings we could achieve. With the ability to clad said structure in profiled sheeting, the opportunity to use the extensive heights of the external envelope as a transparent or translucent skin was, pardon the pun, clear. From the human side, our approach is to improve the experience of the employees as much as we are able to. One of the primary attempts to do so is to provide a connection to the outdoors for those who work inside. This attempt to soften one's experience and feel a bit of nature indoors in an otherwise mechanical and cold environment. This connection serves a second function in providing maximum natural daylighting during daylight operating hours, of course, encouraging light to penetrate as far into the interior as is achievable. The quality of this light will also always be desirable over electric lighting, and additionally lightens the electric load needed to light the deep 45 meters lying interior. With the need for future phases and flexibility, steel construction also provided, an easier interface for moving forward. There's no sort of need for wet work or anything if we had used a similar sort of concrete structure. A view from the inside to sort of give you an idea of how much lighting we're able to achieve. There's very few lights lighting this space. Most of this is coming from the sort of glowing external skin. So following the initial site analysis and conceptual development, the architectural design team worked in close collaboration with the structural engineers in order to stretch the economy of the steel as far as possible. The primary directive of an open plan supported a functional and aesthetically appropriate roof line, which meets the sky in a manner befitting the site. The vertical cladding proportions, which have been dressed in polycarbonate, resulted in an opportunity which capitalized on the same idea of light penetration, but this time from the inside towards the exterior. Once the sun sets, the polycarbonate portions are lit internally via a series of lights designed specifically to achieve the effect of the building acting as a lantern. The feeling of the building being self-illuminated both looks incredible as well as helping light the surroundings and encouraging a sense of security. Once more, this would not have had the same effect had it not been for the steel construction. Talking about design challenges when we get to the building, we have previously worked with the pluvia drainage system, and this proved to be something that the engineers needed to wrap their heads around, and was, I guess, planning the routes of these drainage was, I guess, a new experience. It's a lot smaller components than we're used to with big launders and downpipes and stuff. And yeah, the routing and such thereof had to be very carefully considered. Our engineers also said a challenge that they need to address in terms of the cold storage is that the CA stores need to be 100% airtight, which requires them to be a little bit novel in all of their connection details between the ISO panels and our steel structure. Another thing that provided a little bit of a challenge was providing access to these ceilings via sort of specific windows and access hatches. If we have a look again at our external elevations, we're looking at innovative engineering approaches, and one of them we used was to use the same purlin but clad different sides of it, which results in the depth you see on the elevation here. Instead of just giving us a flat face, we now have, I guess, different planes on which they sit, but didn't require any extra structure to achieve said feature. In terms of the ISO panel being implemented, it was also used as a ceiling to span between trusses. These, in addition to providing thermal insulation, are structural and can be used as a walkway. The trusses also ended up being comparatively tall as a result of head height requirements inside the ceiling space, as the ceiling space itself is used to access different parts of the cold storage. In terms of a creative engineering principle, the mezzanine structure, which houses all of the mechanical equipment, is a vital component between these tunnels. There's a whole load of different ammonia cooling and pipe routes, and yeah, it really, in terms of design coordination, is probably the most important and clogged up part of the building. When we get onto the benefits of steel being implemented in our building, the implementation of steel in the structure design has numerous benefits, the first being span. The same spans would not have been achievable with alternatives available. Concrete, timber simply couldn't come close. Being able to prefabricate and transport smaller sections to site was also a major time-saving effort, as opposed to having to wait for concrete to cure, which is also weather dependent. Some advantages we observed in the implementation of steel was also the speed of the erection of the structure. Again, concrete and timber simply would take longer and result in a much heavier structure. And in terms of economy, materiality, financial cost, steel would come out as the material of choice. Furthermore, the robustness and minimal maintenance required on the structure is a feature which is highly beneficial to our clients, especially in the environment that the structure finds itself. Often there's tons of moisture and different materials, gases and things like that need to be taken into consideration. Lifestyle and maintenance benefits of steel, other than needing to touch up some paint finishes here and there, there's very little maintenance required on the steel structure. Same can be said for the cladding system. The profile sheeting used offers a guarantee that a masonry or concrete-based construction simply couldn't match, especially in the industrial environment it's found. Very easy to clean and maintain, helping achieve the client's aim of minimal maintenance. We get into quality assurance and coatings here. I don't know if Johan perhaps wants to pop in here at all while I'm reading through here, but yeah, the QA systems we have implemented from BlueScope It's backed by an Australian technology and manufactured in accordance with their stringent manufacturing guidelines in compliance with ISO 9001 and ISO 14001 accreditations. The zinc coating, widely known as Zincalume, protects the cold rolled coil through a continuous hot dip process. The CRC passes through a molten alloy bath of 55% aluminium, 43.5% zinc, and 1.5% silicone, creating an anti-corrosive layer that delivers a lifespan of up to 4 times longer than the traditional galvanized steel. The Zincalume G550 steel is an alloy-coated structural steel with regular spangle surface and guaranteed minimum yield strength of 550 MPa with limited ductility, suitable for roll forming to a minimum internal diameter of 4 T. Surface preparation, the cold rolled coil is thoroughly cleaned and heat treated to remove rolling oils and prepare the steel for metallurgical bonding. It's then continuously passed through a molten bath of aluminium zinc silicon alloy at temperatures around. It's then passed through the air knife wiping, which as it exits the bath, high pressure gas jets or air knives wipe away excess metal, ensuring a strictly controlled even coating thickness. In terms of inspection procedures, we had weekly site meetings at which all of the professionals would attend and inspected sort of weekly or fortnightly. The paint was monitored by a specialist in application thickness measured at the factory and again on site. In terms of a paint specification, we used a Jota floor. The surface preparation standard we've previously spoken about. When we get down to the sustainability and efficiency of steel, material optimization, the steel frame construction is widely considered as a sustainable and efficient solution in industrial architecture due to its strength, durability, and adaptability. Steel structures can span large distances without the need for excessive internal supports, creating open and flexible industrial spaces that are ideal for factories, warehouses, and manufacturing facilities. From a sustainability perspective, steel is highly recyclable and can often be reused without losing its structural properties, reducing construction waste and the demand for raw materials. The lightweight nature of steel, also compared to the other materials, reduces foundation requirements and transportational impacts. In addition to being prefabricated off-site, allowing fast assembly, transport, labor costs, the works. In terms of maintenance consideration, our steel frame systems easily integrate energy efficient technologies, as is evident with insulation panels, solar systems, natural ventilation strategies, contributing to lower operational costs and a smaller environmental footprint over the lifespan of the building. Finally, I guess we get to the more human side, what we're most proud of with regards to this building. I'd say we're always proud of creating a space and an environment where the employees, the people who inhabit the building every day, can have the most enjoyable and beneficial work environment. Natural lighting and connection to the outdoors may seem like a simple intervention. However, the effect this has on the employees cannot be understated in a world blighted with things like sick building syndrome and the like. Improving one's daily life by improving their immediate environment is something we will never overlook. In terms of making the project stand out technically, I'd say striking a balance between function and aesthetic expression. Additionally, the aesthetic expression was achieved by means of economical design. There's not very many exotic materials, superfluous decoration, and the aesthetic improvements are essentially baked into the design. Our engineers think that the structural detailing that would be exemplary is the harmonious design as a whole, and they're very proud of the efficiency of the design, both in its materiality and layouts. what makes this a winning project? I'll harken back to the enjoyment of the end user, the employees being the recipients of a work environment which supersedes their previous experiences. In terms of a community impact, again, these employees having a work environment which supersedes their previous experience is massive. In addition to the conditions inside of the pack house, the facilities provided were specifically designed for the staff to have a more enjoyable time at work. The ablution facilities straddle a communal canteen area, which opens out to ample grass and an elevated outdoor area. Friday afternoons have already become a time for staff to get together and enjoy a braai or a meal together. In terms of contribution to the industry, this facility alone helped handle the exportation of 7,200 tons of fresh produce at a time, and will in future, once they've got their packing machinery included, it's going to go even further. In terms of our client being satisfied, the entire professional team were invited to celebrate the official opening of the pack house in late 2024, where the client, again, for whom we've done previous work before, conveyed their unbridled happiness with a completed project and sang the praises of every role player in helping achieve their vision. Distinctive aspects of our building, I would say, lighting concepts, the view to future expansion, integrating multiple functions into one building envelope, and there's the extra little buildings around the site which all contribute to it working harmoniously. In terms of our project team collaboration, without direct collaboration and consultation across the professional team, we simply would not have arrived at the final product you see. Back and forth feedback, regular site meetings, and an appetite to deliver a final product that would satisfy all the clients' needs resulted in the homogeneity and overall result. And furthermore to that coordination, with it being an industrial project and having a ton of different specialized services required to keep it functioning, countless supply lines to cooling systems, air conditioning, ventilation, water supply and drainage, electrical lines, cable trays, it would have been nigh on impossible to coordinate space for each aspect without a complete understanding of how this building works in 3D. With the team working on a shared Revit model, all services and professional aspects were handled and linked in by their respective professionals and used to cross-check for any coordination in a central Revit model. It's allowed for comprehensive and relatively user-friendly method for cross-checking against any potential clashes. I think that brings us to the end of my speech.
Well, I haven't prepared a speech, but just a little bit of additional information around what happens in these facilities. By definition, a CA room or controlled atmosphere room is a room where apple bins, or in this case, each room contains 1,000 bins per room, weighing at approximately 330 kilograms per bin. These bins are stored in an inert environment where the room is temperature controlled down to just above freezing. The humidity is extracted and the oxygen is extracted and replaced with a nitrogen gas, which basically puts the apple in a state of limbo. It lives there till the market is ready to receive the apples. As you know, you can buy apples in the stores all year round, but they only harvest this time of year. They're reaching the end of the harvest now. So these apples are stored, broken out the room when required. In this facility, there are 24 rooms, so that's 24,000 bins of apples when fully laden. The space you see there in front of you, the open space, that's for a future pack line. The pack line themselves, the bins get emptied into water flumes which carry the floating fruit to the machine. There's a camera box that takes up to 72 images of every single apple that goes through. The machine detects the color, the weight, defects, size, aesthetic blemishes, etc., etc. It decides on the quality of the fruit and where that fruit is going to go. So it then moves through the machine. It gets deposited at various packing tables. The computer knows which apple goes into which box and which box goes to which pallet, and which pallet goes to which client. So a box would arrive palletized, and that particular pallet would end up at the Sainsbury's store in the UK at their Slough meeting space. So yes, that's basically what these facilities do. A packing hall would typically employ about 200 staff. So the staff movements in relation to product movement, and you can imagine this sheer volume of fruit moving through a facility means that space optimization is critical. Bins coming in, empty bins exiting, pallets being packed, pallets being staged, and then the staff moving safely in and out of that area, and what to do in case of fire. Just back on the steel thing, the controlled atmosphere stores are also clad in steel flat sheets, and obviously the beauty there is that everything is super hygienic, which the fruit process has to be independently inspected. There are permanent independent inspectors on site, checking for quality, cleanliness, etc., etc., etc. So the product helps us there. In a nutshell, that's what a packing facility does. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. Sorry, if I can add something from our side, not with regards to steel or BlueScope Zinculum or anything, but how I see this project is the agricultural market in South Africa, as we all know, is very important to the economy. And it does give a lot of people in South Africa the opportunity to have a job, and a place where they feel safe. And I believe you've captured this probably in the best way you could. It is an outlying area, so any facility that's put up that has to house a multitude of types of equipment and big structures and the ugly mechanical side of the inside of the pack house, as you enveloped it beautifully, where, as you said, the people inside of it, or that works for Betko and the packing facility, they're happy to come to work. They feel safe, they feel secure, and I'm sure they feel that's their happy place to be during the day, and they're proud of it. But not just looking at your client and what artistry or artistic flair you can also add to the build and to the design, but also looking further to the surrounding area. In the countryside, whenever a big building goes up, it can be an eyesore, but you actually thought of beyond that little area where the facility is placed, and by the design featuring or looking like a lantern at night and using color and natural light to accentuate or bring up things, features, it's beautifully captured. So there's actually way more than that you've added to the project that the general person just going past it won't be able to really notice unless they understand what goes on inside the factory and what you successfully achieved to hide, if I can say that. So well done, project.
Well, thanks for the kind words, Johan.
Yeah, and it's something that we almost do automatically now. So thanks for reminding us. It's an immeasurable thing, but the well-being and happiness of the staff is directly proportional to the throughput of the facility. So creating a favorable environment definitely does work in terms of the bottom line, which everyone's chasing.
Absolutely.
Great. Well done.
Awesome.